Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jay Liu. I am a Jiu-Jitsu competitor, and today we're going to go over what you should do to prepare for your first BJJ competition. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe, and go ahead and check out some of my other videos. I vlog and compete in competitions, and I also try to give out some good advice and try to get some helpful information to the BJJ community. So let's get to it. First, I'm going to tell you guys my experience of how I got into competitive BJJ. So what I was doing was I moved all the way from Washington to Austin, Texas, and I just joined a BJJ gym. Just a random one that was close to my apartment at the time. So I was just going to an open mat one day and I saw a flyer that said Grappling Industries on it, and I knew the blue belts who I was rolling with were like, hey, are you doing Grappling Industries? And they were chatting around about it, and I was just like, what's that? So you do feel a little bit clueless if you're a white belt because you're just learning stuff, you're trying to get into the groove of a few things, and you're just trying to understand stuff. You're getting fed a ton of jiu-jitsu information. Like, I didn't even know who Gordon Ryan was when this was going on. I was so under the level. I didn't know anything. So I pretty much asked my professor saying, hey, can I do this? Like, I'm a wrestler. I know this. I know how to wrestle. I know all these basic stuff. I did MMA and stuff. And he was just like, yeah, it'd be a good tournament for you. And I would say I was in well done shape. I kind of got out of an MMA camp and I was very solid. I was working with a few MMA pros, getting my ass kicked sparring, and I went through hell from Washington all the way to Austin. Like, I could easily jump into a competition. So I did a Grappling Industries, did 9 matches, got all bloodied up and did a ton of takedowns and was getting my ass kicked in guard, and somehow I ended up getting 2 medals. So these are my first 2 medals. Silver and a bronze. Now I will go and explain what to do. If you're curious about this, usually in gyms there's a flyer with specific local competitions, or maybe you have a competition board in your gym that says like, hey, we're gonna go do this competition at this specific date. Those are good opportunities to introduce yourself and expose yourself with well done coaching. There's also one thing that I would do is I would look on Smooth Comp, and that pretty much gives you the information of, hey, there's these tournaments coming up soon and you can go ahead and register for them. Obviously there's a lot of organizations that have their own websites, but I wouldn't bother with stuff like the IBJJF or the Jiu-Jitsu World League just yet. I would recommend you would just do a local tournament and just be curious. Get out there. Go on your own adventure. Try to enjoy things. You got to be ambitious getting into jiu-jitsu. So what I would recommend is that you should do is you should probably sign up for a Grappling Industries or Tap Out Cancer. Those ones are mainstream to go around the US. Those 2 are my favorite local tournaments because one of them is for the greater good. Like, it's amazing how the BJJ community can raise so much money for something that we are struggling to resolve in the medical field. And also another big thing is Grappling Industries is pretty much the high value, and when you're an upper white belt and you know what you're doing and you're starting to actually get some solid moves, Grappling Industries, you can get $90 for 10 matches. So 10 matches is extreme, but it's a prerequisite to be in shape and be ready for that kind of stuff. And don't be ashamed if you accidentally get too tired in one of these. Everyone goes through this. It's one of those things. Like, I've seen people puke in these things, but it's a great experience. So what I would do is reach out to your coaches and see if they can show up to your tournament and stuff. or there's a group going on. I think it's a lot better if you're with a group and you can get stuff resolved. I think as a white belt, since you don't have the experience yet of a competitive grappler and this is your first thing, advice, just having advisors around you or a group around you helping you out is a big thing for sure. The second thing you would want to think about is what weight class you would go in. Honestly, if it's your first competition, do your walking weight. Which I mean, it's not your out of shape weight, but it's the weight that if you're eating healthy and you're doing good, you can just make that weight class. So I wouldn't cut more than 5 pounds and I wouldn't gain more than 5 pounds for a weight class. Then you gotta just start preparing. So what I would recommend is have a game plan. If it's gi or no gi, just have a game plan. You wanna think about 3 different things. The first one is, how are you going to enter the match? What is your opening? Like, I think of it as a chess game. Like, how are you going to enter the match or what you're going to do? So if you're going to wrestle, wrestle. If you're going to pull guard, and study the rules and make sure that you know the rules are before you make those decisions. Once you have that plan of what you're going to open with, if you're going to open with some kind of grip and do some wrestling or some judo, or you're just going to jump straight into a guard pull or get grips and pull guard, one of those, then you got to think about what positions you want to be in. So for top, this would be like, hey, after I take this guy down, I want to land in side control and get the best situation as possible. That's the most ideal situation. But also you got to think about, what if this doesn't happen? Which positions am I good when it comes to passing? So what I would say is, if you're good at passing half guard, make sure that you have ways that you can enter into top half or half guard. For example, like, I don't know, you get stuck in close guard, break the close guard, end up in half guard, and then you can rely on your half guard passing because you're a white belt, so you don't know a diverse amount of techniques. You just need to have very small amount of techniques that you're good at and you'll do fine. Like for me, I've done really good for just throwing dice and getting 2 points, doing a hip toss. And that's how I was able to get through competing as a beginner. Because I would do that and then I would be able to smash half guard and just get my passes if I need to. Know the little things, know the positions you want to be in that you can score in. And then after you know that, the final part is know the submissions that you can do comfortably. So for me, I was very comfortable with the Ezekiel choke and an armbar. Those were the 2 that I stuck with and I did okay with. Obviously didn't get very many submissions because the arm bars are risky, but the Ezekiels are hard to get. But hey, I got a few submissions, and it's okay. So think about those, think about how you're gonna finish your opponent, and work on your escapes. Because as a prerequisite, you should be able to survive in the gym and not get tapped out a ton of times before you compete. Obviously, you got to determine when the weigh-ins are. Some are the night before, which are awesome, and then some are in the morning. So what I would do is at night, I would go ahead and just not eat very much the day before. Make sure you're on weight, weigh in the night before, and then eat pretty reasonably and eat a reasonable amount of carbohydrates. Or the morning of is you eat just kind of light, but eat enough carbohydrates that you can handle and your body's still functioning. And then in the morning, you go ahead and pack some reasonable amount of food, a little bit more than you would than a lunch, you know, because you want to have a reasonable amount of carbs, recover your body after a morning weigh-in. I usually make it as early as possible for me, but at the same time, you only need to weigh in like a few hours before your fight. I'm not talking like BJJF, you gotta weigh in now right before your fight. That's a whole different thing. This is you show up and you have a weigh-in booth and you weigh in and then you wait like a couple hours before you fight. That's what I'm talking about. Or you weigh in the day before, which is more like an MMA weigh-in. Make sure you have a good solid bag. Make sure you have a reasonable first aid kit. Definitely some basic athletic tape, scissors, and just some basic first aid's fine. And also, I would also bring someone, your buddy, that can videotape and film you, because after the match you're probably going to want to rewind it and take a look at a few things to see what you did correct and what you did wrong. And make sure you bring some music, because you could get stressed and the music's good to just get you in the zone. Because remember, this is a competitive setting. You want to get out there and do your best, and honestly, having the support and being able to talk to people and just getting your head straight and not overthinking stuff is one thing that I do struggle with, but those kind of things do help a little bit. It's just getting your mind off of things, and then right when you're ready to go, you just step in and you execute your plan. I don't have much to say. That's how you pretty much prepare. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. On to the next one.